Hey guys, welcome to our speculation and review video of the first two episodes of the Ahsoka series. In the last episode we've conducted a breakdown of the episodes and today we're going to discuss and review them. Also, keep in mind that this contains spoilers. Alright, now that everything's sorted, let's get into it. So at this point we've all seen Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, the pair of force wielders who greeted the captain of the New Republic ship in the first episode. What do we know about them? Well, a while ago I would have said that not much, but now we've got some behind the scenes info which could help us connect the dots and at least make an educated guess about who these characters are and what their intentions could be. First things first, let's talk a bit about their names. In the Norse mythology, Skoll and Hati are the wolves that pursue the sun and the moon through the sky hoping to devour them. Skoll chases after the moon while Hati chases after the sun. Now, could this mean that although they're together, they may have different goals in the end? Perhaps radically different. Time will tell. However, this begs the question, what is really the relationship between them? It is heavily implied that Baylan is the master while Shin is the apprentice. We know that, mostly because of Shin's Padawan braid. But are they maybe related? The Ahsoka series takes place around 10 years after the Battle of Yavin. And we know that Baylan is one of the Order 66 survivors and he was a Jedi Knight during the time of the Republic. He also looks to be around 50 years old, so if we also take the years during which the Clone Wars took place into consideration and do a little bit of math, we could say that Baylan was in his early 20s during the events of the Clone Wars, so around the same age as Anakin Skywalker. Shin looks to be in her early 20s in the Ahsoka series, so it would be pretty safe to assume that she was probably born in 10 BBY. So she was pretty young during the events of the Rebels show. Now, could they be father and daughter? Maybe uncle and nephew? Or are they nothing more than a master and his Padawan? At the moment, we could only speculate, but it's definitely interesting to keep the possibility in mind. When it comes to their intentions, it is pretty obvious that they're dark side users that have become mercenaries for hire. Baylan is a former Jedi, and to me it feels like Shin was either raised and trained as a dark side user from the start, or she was perhaps a light side user at first too, just like Baylan. But obviously, that has changed at some point in their lives. Their lightsaber colors are orange, so they might not have bled their kyber crystals to the point where they became red. Possibly because they haven't fully given into the dark side, which is very interesting. This could either mean that there is a bit of conflict in them, or maybe they've created their own rules they go by. Perhaps they'll borrow some of the values of the light side, while also taking full advantage of the power that comes from the dark side. We've seen that they initially didn't want to kill the captain and the crew of the New Republic ship. They tried to be diplomatic, until the captain mocked and threatened to arrest them. This is further reinforced by the late Ray Stevenson, may he rest in peace, in an interview where he mentioned that Baylan isn't someone looking for blood directly, but if you stand in his way, he will clear the path. It is also definitely interesting that Baylan knew that Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader. Sure, Anakin was one of the most, if not the most famous Jedi in the Republic, so knowing about him isn't that big of a deal, but knowing that he became Darth Vader, now that's a secret only a few knew. This could mean three things. 1. Baylan knew Anakin personally so well that he was able to notice Vader's behavior patterns and connect the dots. 2. Baylan knew someone who knew that Vader was Anakin, and he overheard that information or was told by someone. And 3. Just like Reva, he witnessed Vader's actions and possibly defended himself against Vader while he still looked like Anakin during Order 66. I'm leaning a lot towards the third alternative. It would be amazing to see Nightfall Anakin fighting Baylan in the Jedi Temple and Baylan escaping in the last second during the events of Order 66. Now, we also don't really know why Baylan and Shin work for Morgan Elizabeth, one of the last remaining Night Sisters. It is definitely not only for the money, because Baylan said that they will get a lot of power once Thrawn returns, but for that I think we'll have to wait and see. Alright, we've talked about Baylan and Shin. Now let's talk a bit about Marok, the mysterious character wielding an Inquisitor lightsaber. We don't know a lot about this character, besides the fact that he works with Baylan and Shin. What a lot of fans have noticed is the fact that Sam Witwer, the voice of Darth Maul, and Galen Marek, aka Starkiller from The Force Unleashed, shows up in the credits of the episode as the voice of a character. We also know that in an interview Sam Witwer said that Dave Filoni considered adding Starkiller to canon, and having him be one of Vader's Inquisitor, which brings us to this question. Is Marek supposed to be Galen Marek, or perhaps a version of the character? Sure, we can't have exactly the same version we've seen in The Force Unleashed, because that guy was a menace. He was extremely powerful, he beat his master Darth Vader and most of the characters in the game, and he even took down a Star Destroyer with his Force Pull. That literally wouldn't work in live action, at least at this stage. However, him being an Inquisitor and perhaps Darth Vader's apprentice would be extremely poetic, because we would have Ahsoka, which used to be Anakin's Padawan, fight toe-to-toe with Marek, who used to be or maybe still is Darth Vader's acolyte. Now, we don't really know why Marek works with Baylan, Shin and Morgan. His lightsaber is red, so he probably has fully given into the dark side. But that's all we know. He seems to be a worthy opponent to Ahsoka, as he managed to hold his own against her in their fight from episode 2. What I think is going to happen is that Marek will indeed be voiced by Sam for the entirety of the first season, and perhaps in the last episode we'll finally unmask Marek and reveal Sam Witwer being under the helmet. Alright, that pretty much sums up the speculation part of this video. Now let's get to the review. I think the series overall has a great potential, and it's mostly because of Dave Filoni's writing and directing of the series. To me, it feels like we're finally bringing together the best Star Wars had to offer, which is George Lucas' masterpiece movies combined with the beautiful Clone Wars and Rebels series of Dave Filoni. We'll have Hayden Christensen back as Anakin and Rosario Dawson, who by the way used to go to the same acting school as Hayden, back as Ahsoka. We're finally going to see most of our favorite characters from the animated series in live action. And it finally feels like a series that cares about the fans and cares about what Star Wars actually is. Now, this is a double-edged sword, because a casual audience won't really understand most of the references or the events that have happened prior to the series. However, I believe that Star Wars is for everyone, no matter how nerdy they are, and that it should be as equally entertaining to the casual audience as it is to the die-hard fans. But I also trust Dave Filoni with his decisions, and I think that he will do a great job with this series and bring in new fans to this amazing universe of Star Wars. That being said, my rating for the first 2 episodes is Fully Ignited Lightsaber, which is basically a 9 out of 10. As I said, I think Dave is creating something beautiful here with lots of potential, though it might initially feel like it's not meant for a casual audience. But I trust Dave and I'm excited for the next episodes. Alright guys, this marks the end of our first review and speculation part of the series. Please do let me know about your thoughts on this series in the comments below. May the Force be with you, and may I see you in the next one. Bye bye.